unit doesn't exist. But if it did, it'd be comprised of the best operatives in the world. And when all else fails, they don't.
I want in.
Welcome to Question Entertainment. I'm Christopher Millette.
And I'm Abby Rooney, and today we're discussing
G.I. Joe became Hasbro's answer to Star Wars toys, except with military characters. It morphed into a cartoon and comic book to promote it and became very popular. I watched it because it came on after Transformers. In this, we see the origins of the character Duke, who goes on to be the leader of G.I. Joe, and the origins of Cobra, who become G.I. Joe's main enemy. So, how was it?
There was a lot of great action and special effects, but all the technology in the world cannot make up for bad writing, directing, and acting, which led to a very lame film.
I want to agree with Abby. Abby has the correct review, but unfortunately, I poisoned my mind as a youth and watched the entire TV series. And this movie, as bad as it was bad in the exact same way as the TV series. The jokes were terrible in this movie. They were the same kind of terrible jokes that were in the original TV series. But this is where I am. Like, I didn't collect the toys, but I was disappointed that they didn't have Shipwreck in the movie, because really he was a much more major character than whoever it was the Wayans brother played. Other than that, unless you have already watched the series, or you're a little child who has been brought up on poorly done stories and is just excited that stuff blows up through the whole film, and you've never seen Star Wars so you don't notice the entire ending has been ripped off from another film, or you haven't read the title of the film, which is The Rise of Cobra, so you don't get really annoyed that Cobra actually rises 38 seconds prior to being stopped, then you may still enjoy this film.
Yeah, why was that the name of the movie?
It
had very little to do with the movie.
I really think it was called The Rise of Cobra for two reasons. One, Cobra was cooler than G.I. Joe, so we wanted it in the title. And two, because the original title of the cartoon series was G.I. Joe, A Real American Hero, and since they took away the fact that he was explicitly American in this movie, they needed another subtitle so it wasn't just left off. Yeah. I think that's it. And that way when we have a sequel, it can be G.I. Joe, Cobra Comes Back, or
right, so
Revenge of the Fallen.
Each one could be G.I. Joe
Yeah.
and then
Yes.
a subtitle.
Exactly. Was it good for kids?
G.I. Joe is a kid's toy. It's based on a kid's toy, so I think it is geared towards a younger audience.
Yeah.
I probably wouldn't go too young, just because things blow up, but I guess that's...
Things blow up, but beyond that, it was like the cartoon, except they threw in the death, and way too many low-cut outfits, and just over-sexualized women.
I noticed that a lot in the movie.
Yes.
Even their uniforms that they wore, the women, I mean, it was too much.
Yeah, it was very explicit. They all looked like pinup girls. And the dialogue, though they never mentioned sex, they talk about it through the whole film.
Yeah. It was their attempt to have some sort of chemistry between the actors, but it did not exist.
No.
The actors had no chemistry with each other at all.
Which, once again, they looked a lot like the cartoon.
So this was very nostalgic for you.
If they were trying to redo the cartoon exactly, just adding death, cussing, and cleavage, they succeeded.
How about spiritual issues?
Once again, it's better to not have any than to get them wrong, but there really aren't any spiritual issues other than the group they're fighting is trying to, through terrorism, bring about a one-world government, and that's shown as bad. But the G.I. Joe force themselves is now a global force, also very much a one-world UN sort of thing. That may sit poorly with people who understand prophecy and revelation and things like that. But just as an American, was rather insulting. And I know G.I. Joe has a history of just changing its stance based on popular opinion. In the 60s and 70s, when the Army was unpopular and the anti-war movement really took off, G.I. Joe became Action Man and was no longer fighting military-wise. He was going on adventures. And recently, new G.I. Joes, when war was looked on badly again, became environmental police because we all love the environment. And now that America is no longer cool and it's not good to like your own country, G.I. Joe is no longer American. Though they do mention that Duke himself is a real American hero, but since he's the best America has to offer, he gets to move a step up to this global war. And I'm not so sure that's spiritual, but I didn't like it as a pro-America American. So, what is our recommendation?
If you're a 12-year-old boy, you'll probably love it.
If you're the parent of a 12-year-old boy, you should probably help them pick something better. Really, if they want action, The Lord of the Rings and the Chronicles of Narnia still exist.
There are much better alternatives.
I'll have to really think. If you can think of a better war story alternative, let us know.
Thanks for watching.
On YouTube, please click subscribe. On Facebook, please click share. On our blog, please click the RSS feed.
We'll fight for freedom wherever there's trouble. G.I. Joe is there. G.I. Joe, American hero. G.I. Joe is there. It's G.I. Joe against Cobra and Destro, fighting to save the day. He never gives up. He's always there, fighting for freedom over land and air. G.I. Joe, American hero. G.I. Joe is there.
G.I. Joe is the code name for America's daring, highly trained Special Mission Force. Its purpose, to defend human freedom against COBRA, a ruthless terrorist organization determined to rule the world.
He never gives up. He'll stay till the fight's won. G.I. Joe will dare. G.I. Joe, American hero. G.I. Joe.
Okay, that was crazy. What happened to you? I went through the train. What happened to you? I jumped over it. You could do that?